Hello, gamers. It is I, the summoned skull on a right.
And it is I, Captain Titus, but I have sunglasses again.
And we're
'Cause I
here
am
to talk about Blizzard games.
the true memer.
The true memer. I'm Alex, he's Chris. Welcome to Blizz Bizz, episode whatever. You're not supposed to put numbers in the titles anymore.
Is that the unspoken rule of YouTube, or?
It's how the algorithm works. So the idea is if you put a number in a title, you're less incentivized to click on the video, because it's like number 52 and you haven't watched 1 through 51. But
Oh yeah, because everybody's got to make sure they're up to speed with the in canon Blizz Bizz lore.
Look, there's a lot of things, but I mean, like, because Let's Players have started. Game Grumps did that.
Yeah, well, because if you don't watch Blizz Bizz episode 3, you'll never understand the betrayal of Blizz Bizz episode 7.
You'll never understand why there's a summoned skull instead of a blood elf on the right.
Yeah, that's true.
You won't get the lore.
He died and was resurrected by a lich.
It's true. See, look at that. You caught up to speed. Welcome to Blizz Bizz, everyone.
Spoilers.
We got a bunch of topics to talk about. We totally didn't just throw this together at the last second because we haven't been able to record because of all the stupid things in the world.
Yeah, and I like sleep.
Yeah, he's been working some late days. We're on 2 different shifts. He's on 3rd. I'm on 1st. Who's on 2nd? I don't know who's on 3rd.
I don't have a follow-up for that, sorry. I would have kept it going. I was trying to think of something about, like, pooping your pants or something, but it just didn't work.
We're a minute 40 seconds in, and we're on a roll.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, we got a few topics we could talk about. The biggest one I think that's going to take up the most of our time is, of course, how we start off all of our podcasting, 40k talk.
We're rolling a decent. Well, hold on. Let's not just say 40k. It's Warhammer in general. All
right, so we'll talk.
40k is not that great.
I'm sorry. There's a lot to talk about with 40k. We did that a couple times, like 10th edition, and talking about memories with old 40k. So apologize. Warhammer talk.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're rolling 6s.
I love that. So, what are there any news or topics in 40k that have really caught your eye lately? I'm sorry, Warhammer.
Yeah.
Again, sorry. 40k just rolls off the tongue so much better.
Well, we'll start with the 40k stuff, if there is any. I mean, like, realistically, I haven't really been keeping up with, like, any big, like, lore changes or events. I mean, the last big thing was, like, the latest Arcs of Omen. Mostly when it comes to 40k right now, I'm just kind of planning out what I want for 10th.
Yeah, same.
There was a new Tyranid release, which looked really, really good.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture of that. I think it looks terrifying.
Yeah, it's a Tyranid Prime with wings.
I don't like that. Why does it have wings?
Well, so winged Tyranid warriors have been a thing for, I want to say, since 6th edition. They were called Tyranid Shrikes.
Oh yeah, I remember Shrikes.
Yeah. So they never had official models, but they had official rules in the 5th and 6th edition Tyranid Codex.
Interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of people were taking, like, gargoyle wings and putting them on their warriors, which looks really weird because it's like equated to Heimlich the caterpillar from A Bug's Life, and like this gigantic caterpillar with tiny wings.
I don't want to imagine him as a Tyranid. That's the last thing I want to think about.
A bunch of Tyranid warriors like, I'm a beautiful butterfly. But at least they, hopefully with this Tyranid Prime, this winged Prime model, that we'll hopefully get a new warrior kit that comes with winged warriors.
That'd be nice. There's a lot of kits that still need to come out.
Yeah. Like, I'm not super impressed with the Termagant ones, and I'm sure I won't be impressed with the Hormagant ones either, just because you really can't make those any more dynamic than they already are.
Yeah.
So coming out with the special biomorphs is what's really gonna sell it for me.
Like, I know you don't usually play the Kaiju Tyranid list, but it might be time to expand.
Well, I mean, I can. Like, I have the ability to do it. I have both the capabilities of playing Nidzilla and Swarm. But like the new Leaper models look pretty good. The new Shrike or Tyranid Prime with wings looks pretty good. I don't know. Like, I have plenty of warriors, so if they do come out with a kit, they will specifically, or I should say, they will exclusively only be for Shrike models if that is available. Because I mean, I think I'm sitting on like 18 warriors or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like I have the ability to run a full 9-man of ranged warriors and then a full 9-man of melee warriors.
When are we getting that attack on Tyranid mode, buddy?
Oh yeah, that would be fun.
I remember you came up with that a while ago, and we never got a chance to play it.
We didn't. That was back when I was like super gun ho about making custom rules, and when I did that like demon hunt mode or
that
whatever.
demon hunt mode was awesome, by the way.
Yeah, that was really fun. I enjoyed that.
I like that it had a PvE option, and it was still fun to play.
Yeah, I think it worked out pretty well. You know, with the whole like demon prince not activating until you're nice and close, and you can like collect the boons and stuff. So yeah, that was fun. I wouldn't mind maybe revisiting that with newer rules like 10th ed.
Yeah, with 10th ed, just kind of, you know, since it's kind of regressing a lot in terms of, or not regressing, but taking away a lot of like the complexity of the game. Having a simple game that you can add rules onto is way more fun.
Oh yeah.
I did see that in 10th ed that not only are we getting independent characters back, but the characters are able to join squads now. Or again.
Yeah.
I like that aspect. I don't know why they got rid of it.
That was the whole thing. That's what independent character does. It allows you to be put into units again. I didn't see that announcement, but I'm gonna go off of. I'll take your word for it.
I saw it on a video from like one of the Warhammer YouTubers I usually watch. I forget his name, unfortunately.
Okay.
But he was saying that is going to be a thing again, and I just gonna believe every word he says.
Yeah, I mean, if it's true, then awesome, because I love independent character. I mean, being able to create Death Star units was pretty fun.
Well, thematically, it just makes sense. So your leaders aren't just cowering behind your units.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they're leading from the front like they should be doing. But yeah, I think... oh, yeah, they're getting rid of the psychic phase. So that's another thing that's going away.
I don't know how I feel about that, personally.
I think it's fine. It's integrated into the hero phase, essentially, like in Age of Sigmar, where you can cast all your spells in the hero phase. So in the new ed, it'll be all of your psychic powers are in the. I think they call it the command phase. I'm very out of touch with current Warhammer, but yeah, that's essentially what they're gonna do. So all your powers can be done in there now.
I feel like the only reason I'd be like against it is really because I still think of psychic powers as having the psychic power cards and having all the variants and the cool abilities, when in reality that's just not the case anymore.
Yeah, back when psychic powers were fun. So there's been a couple of things about the way stratagems are gonna work in 10th ed. Basically, they're trying to limit the amount of reactions that you're able to do, because I guess one of the big problems in current 40k, and again, since I haven't been playing current 40k, I can't really say from personal experience, but from what I've been hearing from friends that play consistently and from other YouTubers and people in the community, they say that there is a lot of enemy interaction on your turn So like somebody says, it's the start of your turn and you start going through your phases, and in every single one of your phases your opponent is able to do like 2 or 3 things. So they're still playing the game. And it's unfortunate because not every army can do that. So it's like the armies that are able to do that have massive advantages over other armies. And
Do you think that's something that's going to be more prevalent when the codexes come out, or is that something you think is going to be available right from the index?
Oh no, everybody will be on an even playing field. Like basically, what's gonna happen is just like when 8th edition came out and we had the indexes, the game will be fun. It'll be incredibly fun and balanced for, however many months, and then the first codex will come out, and then power creep will start, and the game will be less and less fun as time goes on, because that's how it always happens.
I really do want to emphasize the codexes coming out are cool and all the new special rules and potentially new models, but it does really ruin the game on the game balance. It would be awesome if everyone just gentlemaned into the indexes. That's the game. That's it. No more.
Yeah. Well, if the codex was just a lore book that maybe came with some some of the artifacts that you can use, and then maybe comes with 1 or 2 special rules, then I think codexes would be better. But it's never going to be that way. It's always going to be, a codex is going to come out with, a ton of new special rules and 3 pages of artifacts and a whole page of command or whatever they're called, stratagems, and it's gonna bloat everything again. That's what it's gonna be. We're gonna start fresh. Everybody's gonna be on an equal playing field. It's gonna be fun, and then rules bloat, codex creep. All of it's gonna kick in because that's just how it goes. Because Games Workshop wants to make money.
But it's funny because I've always heard the argument that Games Workshop is a model company first and a game company second. But if that were the case, they wouldn't make the game so expensive.
They haven't had that philosophy for more than 10 years. That was the philosophy back when we were kids playing the game.
When did that change?
When the new I believe it was the new CEO or COO stepped in.
It's funny because I still feel like it's been the same sort of practice for making the game super expensive.
Well, that's the thing, is price-wise, the game has always been expensive. This has never been a cheap hobby. But the problem is that when it became a game company first and a model company second, when the new leadership stepped in and they said that, okay, we need to update the rules on a 4-month basis, and we need to come out with general's handbooks, and we need to come out with chapter approves, and we need to keep eroding all these rules so that our competitive scene stays happy. That's when it became game first, model second.
Yeah, I definitely don't like that philosophy.
And the philosophy is also very much game first, model second in nowadays, because and I'm not just saying this because I'm still butthurt that they still don't have the Cygor or Gorgon kit available yet. But the fact that I've been told by, the Games Workshop Facebook page, because I kind of went on a bit of a protest. Because every time they posted something on their Facebook, I immediately responded with, "Yeah, that's cool and all, but when are you gonna restock the Gorgon and Cygor kits?" And I did that. Yeah, I did that on every single post, and I did it for about, I think it was 1 day. So because they don't post very much in a single day, so it's I did it for 1 day, and it was 3 different posts, and then eventually I got a message back from them. And they say, "Oh, we're working on it," or they talk about a plastic shortage or something like that, or not shortage, but what is it I think it's just plastic prices cause a shortage or something like that. And it's I could have believed that 3 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago, but the fact that they keep shoveling out more and more new models that sell out within the first 10 minutes of being online and available for pre-order, that's that's the problem right there. Like they keep releasing more stuff, and then it never makes it onto the shelf before it's completely sold out. So all of their factories have to now make all of that plastic, and then it leaves all the other plastic in the dust. If you ask me, I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but if you ask me, Games Workshop needs to stop pre-orders. Just stop it. Like don't even bother limiting it to like one purchase per account or something like that, because that can still be abused. Like, stop pre-orders, and the only way you can pre-order something is if you go into the store and pre-order it in the store, because then at least they have your identification, and they can, you know, they can limit the abuse way more than if they just, you know, limit it to per account pre-ordering on the website. Just stop pre-orders unless you're doing it in store, and then when things are made, you can ship them out and people have to come to the store to get them. Like, yeah, does that cripple people who are not around any of the game stores? Yeah, absolutely. But it also makes sure that, you know, people that want certain things are going to get them. And then, you know, it can take some of the stress off of Games Workshop's warehouse for making shit.
Yeah, it's definitely not a very smart practice. Pre-orders like were good back in the day, but those are really only good for like games, like video games. Pre-orders for like physical product, it's never been a very good thing. When if I remember correctly, when I backed the Hero Quest reboot, way back when that was still being redeveloped, they had said that, you know, everyone's pre-ordering this. It's not that. First off, they said it was never going to be on shelves, and that was a lie.
That was a lie.
But that's fine. But they did say, like, okay, everyone's pre-ordering, so everything's going to be a little farther behind. So we need time. It ended up coming like 4 months late.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just, there was too much. Like, there was too many orders. It was a very high backing, and I'm glad I backed it, and I'm glad I have all of the stuff for it, but it was still very annoying high, Arthas.
Well, you know, and the thing too is that I get, because the other excuse I've been told about this is that Warhammer is at its most popular peak. It's never been more popular than what it is right now. And, you know, that's great. You know, awesome, fantastic. They can be popular, they can be booming and all that stuff. But you would then think that Games Workshop would then start to prepare for extra orders. Like, they have to know by now that because of their popularity, when a new product is being announced, that they would be over prepared for something to be sold out so that it doesn't sell out. And you can't tell me that this multi-billion-dollar company can't afford a couple extra 3D printers to make their stupid models. I mean, I know they don't actually use a 3D printer. Don't hang me for saying it, but it's just for the joke. But I'm just saying, like, you know, you're telling me this billion-dollar company can't just make another warehouse, or can't just, you know, push their machines to work a little harder to get that stuff out. Like, they're doing it on purpose. They have to be doing it on purpose because Games Workshop wants to make their money. They want to make the upfront hundred thousands of dollars instead of the long-term millions of dollars. That's their problem.
I feel like a lot of businesses nowadays have been going short-term instead of long-term thinking.
They do, yeah. And a lot of it has to do with the way society is now, because, like, I'm starting to get way off topic here, but it is somewhat connected to what we're talking about with, you know, attention spans and how we're a very go society right now, at least in America. You know, I can only speak for my experiences in my own country, but you know, that just, it seems how it is. You know, everybody's just like, oh, I don't have time for this thing that's going to take me 3 minutes. Oh, I don't have time for me to do this, or I don't do this hobby anymore because I just don't have time. And that's kind of everybody's excuse, is that they don't have time for something. And I fully believe they have the time to do it. They just choose not to do it, or they want to ignore it, so they use that as an excuse. Because it's just socially acceptable to say, "Oh, I don't have time." So companies are so back to our point. Yes, companies, and especially the one that we're talking about right now, Games Workshop, is in this practice too, where they are not looking at long-term goals. They just want to get you for every penny they possibly can. And and I get that this is a leisure hobby. This isn't like, if I don't have Warhammer, I'm gonna die. It's not like food. I get that this is a 100% leisure hobby, but the problem is that they are only catering to the scalpers. They're only they're only catering to scalpers, and they're only catering to people that have thousands of dollars of expendable income who can pay scalper prices. That's what it is. Like, I'm kind of like taking everything that I've read and learned from research on Games Workshop and their practices over the past couple of years. I'm just dumping it all out right here, because and I'm sure I'm not the only one that said stuff like this too. So I'm not impressed with Games Workshop's business practices for the past couple of years. Probably a huge contributor to why I wanted nothing to do with 8th and 9th edition 40K, just because I already, I couldn't stay away, obviously, because I love Age of Sigmar. I love everything about Age of Sigmar. It's a great game. It's evolving at a slower pace, which is good. Because 40K is just, you can't stop evolving. And sometimes it doesn't evolve for the good. Sometimes it hits an evolutionary mutation that we need to put it out of its misery. But like Age of Sigmar it's like a fine wine. Everybody hates on it because it's just popular to do that, or it's because they were fantasy players and they still haven't cleaned their diapers and gotten over the fact that Warhammer Fantasy's gone.
Even though it is coming back,
yeah, it is coming back. I mean, that's the thing, is like, I can at least respect that 8th and 9th edition 40K were successful, and I can still think that 7th edition and prior editions are better than what we have right now for 40K.
Yeah.
But I can still respect that 8th and 9th were good editions, and I did play a couple 8th edition games and had some fun. But like, fantasy players just look at Age of Sigmar and they're just like, "Oh, this is a terrible game. It ruined everything. And this is where Games Workshop, hit rock bottom." And it's just, I just don't want to hear it anymore. It's a fun game, and people need to get over it.
That's how I feel about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I kind of lost my train of thought on this tangent. But yeah, I guess moral of what I'm saying here is, I don't like Games Workshop's practices. I think they're really scummy, and I want to support them, but I can't. I will continue to buy my models third party whenever they're available. And I can't directly give them my money anymore, because I don't support it.
No, and I mean, that's probably why I've also been looking towards alternate purchases and alternate ways to get models, whether that be through STL models you could buy online, or if printing my own whenever I get my 3D printer, or even buying cheapo models from a spaceman who's this really low res plastic guy, but I could use as a space marine. It's there's no rules technically that tells you have to do this. And we're only playing in house rules, so tournaments don't matter.
Oh yeah, we don't play. We don't go to tournaments like that. I don't play. I don't buy these expensive models to put all the time into painting, which, I mean, I don't anyway. But if I did, I put all the time into painting these expensive models just so that I could then go to an even more restrictive way of playing the game and watch my beautifully painted models get wiped off the board by somebody who min maxes. Like I just like it's just a waste of time. Like competitive Warhammer is stupid.
I
But
agree.
you know,
It's just ridiculous.
if people like it, that's fine. I think it's dumb. But you know, here I am sounding like a fantasy player talking about Age of Sigmar. Shots fired.
On some more positive news, I have decided on a paint scheme for my Slaves to Darkness.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I remember I told you about it. I thought it would be really cool to have a, shout outs to the old Blizz Bizz who actually talked about World of Warcraft. I wanted to do a Lich King themed Slaves to Darkness army. So I wanted that sort of like gray and black trimmed sort of armor, and then they could have the blue glowing eyes that signify the Lich King sort of power. I think that'd be really tight to have as like an aesthetic.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that'd be fun. This whole conversation started with we were talking about what we were gonna do for 10th, and I have ambitions of buying certain Tyranids at some point, because I'm a Tyranid player.
Of course.
Tyranid
bias.
Yeah, 100%. And I think my Necrons are sitting at a good spot right now. Like I don't think I need any more Necrons. I mean, I still need to build a good quarter of them still. I don't really have. I mean, my Chaos, my World Eaters is good, so I probably won't touch on that at all. But I'm trying to have like a good test army that I can like pick up again. And I think I've settled on rebuilding the Blacktooth Boys. So
I love that.
Yeah, so when 10th comes out and after we play a couple of games and see how we feel about it, if we do end up really enjoying the game, then I will be recollecting my orcs.
I love to hear that.
Yeah,
because those your old orc days with Gragmaul, Spine Snapper, and who is it that that other Chris always used?
Well, okay,
so
yeah, the original rivalry was Gazcall versus Drago.
Yeah, and that rivalry never ended, right?
No, we always had it where Kaldor Drago would fight against Gazcall, and the fights, nobody ever died. The games would end before either one of them could be killed.
Would this end in 10th edition?
Yeah.
Because
I don't play Gazcall anymore, so
tragic.
Because I replaced Gazcall with Gragmaul.
True.
So, and that's the thing is that I was going to be moving the narrative for the Blacktooth Boys, because instead of being a Green Tide army like I used to play, it was going to be a very sort of elite heavy, because with the Great War going on right now, most of the Blacktooth Boys basically left to go join Gazcall's massive War.
Yeah.
And kind of just exiled Gragmaul, and he'll be making his return, dubbing himself as a Prime Orc, and he'll be much larger than he used to be.
I remember when the plan was to put him on a bike and make a whole bike army.
Yeah, do like a Speed Freaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was the thought of that. That was actually going to be like a side thing with the original Blacktooth Boys stuff, where he was gonna just decide to jump on his bike one day or something like that. But no, I pretty much that dream, or that not dream, but like that idea is pretty much out the window. At this point, it's gonna be Gragmaul, and he's gonna have essentially just an army of knobs.
I think that.
I don't even think it's gonna be Mega Knobs. I think it's just gonna be him and just an entire sort of retinue of knobs and artillery. So a lot of I don't know if it's gonna be like looted wagons, or if I want to just do not kill the cans, but def dreads, or if I want to do like stompas, like just just have a bunch of knobs, Gragwall, and like 2 stompas.
I mean, who doesn't love a good stompa?
Yeah, he always brings the full might of the Blacktooth Boys with him.
No, I like that you're continuing, or that you'll potentially be continuing Gragwall's story.
Yeah, and his model will be a non-Games Workshop model. There is, I'm pretty sure I've showed it to you before, but Artel W Miniatures, I'm a huge fan of a lot of their work. They actually have a Mega Boss model that's bigger than Gazkul, the current Gazkul, and looks way better in my opinion.
See, when I was thinking about doing orcs again for 40k, I remember I showed you that that one person on Etsy who had like modern models for the original space orcs.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to do that, to have like a classic space orc army, but in like modern 40k. I think that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, that could be fun. Although I still think your Gritchin army would be really hilarious.
That, I mean, I have 120 of them. Like,
I know, like, and then there's that one model from Reaper Miniatures where it's just a Gritchin or a Goblin inside of a mech suit that you could use as like a Mega Boss or something like that.
There's a lot of potential with it, with the whole Gritchin army.
Yeah, like I think don't sleep on that dream, man. Let that become a reality one day, because it'll be
so
funny.
Bad.
It's not bad. It'd be funny.
It'd be funny, man. Don't lose this, man.
You can win with memes. If I've seen anything, memes win.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
But yeah. So yeah, Blacktooth Boys. I'm definitely excited to potentially start rebuilding them. I'm not gonna like put my hand down on it and be like, oh yeah, this is definitely happening, because I still want to build up my Beasts of Chaos as well, because I'm still waiting on, like, that's the thing too, is like my Age of Sigmar out prioritizes my 40k right now. Even with 10th edition coming out, oh sorry, I couldn't hold it in. Even with 10th edition coming out, Age of Sigmar will always out prioritize Warhammer 40k right now. So,
well, yeah, I mean, like, that's what you're playing more often anyway.
Yeah. So,
like, why collect something for something you're not playing?
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, 10th Ed should be fun. I mean, it looks very promising, but Games Workshop has lied to me before on many occasions. So,
yeah, remember when they said 8th edition was gonna be good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, salty fantasy player here.
Yeah, I've shot enough at Games Workshop right now. I don't think they need a time to recover from all of the truth bombs that I dropped on them.
I'll give credit. It's something kind of off topic to what we were talking about, but I've been dying to talk to you about it. I've been going through some of the audiobooks for 40k. I actually had the chance. I'm about halfway through the Conrad Kurz book, the Night Lord Primarch, which I know you are not a fan of Night Lords for some reason.
Most of the community is not a fan of Conrad Kurz, but go ahead.
He's so cool! Oh my god! Like, this madman talking to a statue he made of the Emperor, he goes mad throughout the whole book. I love the Night Lords. I love their whole philosophy of fear. Like, how it's a clean blade, and it'll strive to make the most peace in the world with less bloodshed. That's so cool! I love learning more about the Night Lords, and Conrad is such an interesting character, with him having this intense rivalry with the Raven Guard Primarch. Like,
Yeah.
I think he said it himself, where it was like, the Emperor made me a killer while he is an assassin. And, like, the Ravenlord Primarch, Ravenguard, not Ravenlord, Ravenguard Primarch.
Corvus Corax.
Corvus, thank you. I couldn't remember his name. Corvus, met up with him. He met up with him and a bunch of other Night Lords, and like the Night Lords were like too scared to do anything. It was so cool. He has this like huge like, what the hell? This guy is terrifying sort of feel to him.
Well, you do know why Corvus Corax is one of the most OP Primarchs ever, right?
Well, I don't. I haven't gotten to anything about him. All I know is that he has an intense rivalry with Conrad right now.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll be in that audiobook, but he essentially has like a demon form that he can go into.
God,
so,
that's cool.
You know how Swain from League of Legends has his giant bird form?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially what Corvax could do. Like,
that's
Corvax
so freaking cool.
He can essentially meld into the shadows and become this shadow raven demon and just like murk people left and right. It's what makes him one of the most terrifying Primarchs. And
it's so cool.
And why Conrad is actually scared of him.
That's so freaking cool. I do want to read even more about all the Primarchs. They are so cool and fascinating to me. Eventually I'll make it through the Alpharius book, but as big of an Alpharius fan I am, his book is really boring.
Yeah, well, the Alpha Legion is an interesting, like, that's the thing, is it's not Alpharius and Omegaron that are interesting, it's the entire Legion.
Yeah, it's the whole premise behind it all. Cut the head of the Hydra and everything.
Yeah.
It's such a cool premise behind everything, and I'm very excited. I want to read about Angron next, probably.
Yeah, you'll be, as much as I like Angron, you'll be disappointed. Like, he's got a good origin, like when the Emperor first finds him in the gladiator pits and all that, but you get to see more of how the Emperor wasn't really that great of a guy.
Oh, I'm already seeing that with Conrad's.
Yeah, the Emperor is kind of a butt sniffer. Like,
no, literally,
he is not a good person.
He's a terrible person. The fact that he made his sons these certain ways, that like, how are they not going to convert to chaos?
Right. He basically doomed them for failure.
But no, he's the great Emperor. God, I already spoiled some of the audiobook because I actually bought the audiobook after I heard an excerpt from it off YouTube. And hearing the Emperor talk about how like he made the ultimate sacrifice and you'll never know he's talking to Conrad. He's like, you'll never know the pain I endured. And I'm just like, what? What are you talking about?
What sacrifice?
Like, what the hell are you talking? You're dead. I don't want to hear about your sacrifice. Every day, chaos is making a lot more sense to me. Maybe I'm converting. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Horus did nothing wrong.
We know this. I made a old Musical.ly back in the day with Horus did nothing wrong.
I remember that.
Which is still on my personal channel, funny enough.
That's funny.
But yeah, I've just been really enjoying the Conrad Kurz book, and the narrator who voices Conrad and everyone. God, give this man an award. He's so good.
That's cool.
Him listen, like, actually rambling like a madman is just, I could listen to it all day.
Yeah, I mean, Conrad Kurz is a madman.
He is a madman.
Have they explained why he's insane?
I haven't gotten to like why he's insane. We just know that he kinda is, and he's just a terrifying monster. And this, I think, was before his conversion to chaos.
It was, yeah, and there's a reason for that. I don't know if it's technically a spoiler or if it's just...
It's fine if it is.
Okay, because he has the ability to see the future. And yeah, so but the thing is that the only things that he can see in the future are like his death and other people's death, and he's just surrounded by death in his own mind, and so it makes him go crazy.
Yeah, not a very good way to use your powers. Only see death. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Well, the Emperor made him that way, so.
Yeah, thanks, Dad.
Yeah, he did. Like, it's crazy how many of the proud sons of the Emperor were born to have daddy issues.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's
absolutely
really bad.
terrible. Do you have more Warhammer talk you want to go to? I might have a little more in my pocket if you don't have anything else.
I don't have anything for 40k. I mean, Age of Sigmar, the Seraphon just got put up for pre-order last weekend.
I did see the box. They all look really cool.
Yeah. I saw there is a I don't know if it's a psychic power or not psychic power, but a spell. I assume it's a spell. But the Star Seekers or whatever they're called, have a spell that they can cast. I think it was called like Shake the World or something like that, or the world trembles. And you basically draw a line from one end of the board, like a table edge, to the other side of the table edge, and everything in that line that you create is like detonated with astral cosmic magic, and they take like D3 mortal wounds.
God, that's so cool.
I know, it makes me think of like the anime, like in anime where the line of energy goes by and then it's a delay and then it explodes, and
yeah,
so
that's the
awesome.
coolest thing. I don't have the money for the Seraphon box, but man, do I wish I did.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll randomly show up again at Adventure Gaming like it did the other day.
Oh yeah.
For Chaos.
Once I finish this Chaos stuff, that Seraphon's next.
Oh yeah. Speaking of anime though, it's not actually about anime, but I did actually have a 10th edition thing that I was talking about, and then it turned into the angry rambling. So that whole problem with people being able to react on your enemy turns and all that. So in 10th edition, they are planning on making stratagems. To have at least one or two stratagems be a reactive stratagem, and they want it to be what they, in their own words, a cinematic stratagem. So I guess like there's going to be a way where you can spend command points to use a specific stratagem that will make like a massive scale tipping move. So it's supposed to be like your cinematic or anime moment where you make your comeback
I really
to get
do
back
enjoy
into
that.
the game.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I guess it's supposed to counteract like really strong first turns or really strong turn twos, so that whenever you get back to your turn and you've lost half of your models, you could use your cinematic thing and then bam, you're back in the game again, and it's not over.
Nah, I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, so I mean, they haven't touched on it other than words. They haven't actually shown a strategy.
GW has never lied to us before.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm, like I can be excited for stuff, but I can also excitedly not hold my breath.
Yeah, totally.
I can be like, oh yeah, that would be really cool if you do it.
Yeah, no, but in all reality, if that does happen, that's a really cool addition that is absolutely needed.
Yeah.
I think back to all the games where like it was just a stomp the whole way through because someone got a lucky turn 1 or turn 2, and it was just, it was so boring to play because you weren't having fun. Everyone was dying and you couldn't swing back.
Yeah. Everybody gets into a game where like the random chance of dice rolls are not in your favor.
It's terrible.
That's what happens when you play a game of random chance.
That's why I play a game like Yu-Gi-Oh! There's no random chance in that game.
Not anymore. You can basically search your deck for whatever you want, but
that's the whole point, baby. Side note, before we keep going, in terms of like Warhammer, did I tell you that I tried airbrushing?
Yes, and you said it exploded.
Yeah, terrible. I still haven't returned it, and I want to, but a couple days ago, I was shaving, and I found a piece of the airbrush in my case where I put my shaver.
Oh.
So, but it was a needle piece. So I'm thinking, is that tiny needle piece what's really causing everything to explode in this thing? I don't know. I also don't care to find out, but at the same time, I kind of do, because when I used the airbrush, it was nice. When I put like base coat on a model, it came on in such fine layers. Oh my god, it was a dream to have that on. And putting primer on was like the best thing in the world.
Right.
But two problems. One, I didn't use the best paint for the base coat. I ended up using a craft acrylic paint and not like something specifically for models. So it got dirty and hardened very fast inside of the whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah, so because I thought, oh, craft paint, it's the same, it's acrylic paint, it's fine. No, it's very different.
Turns out it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't the same. Because even if I just use that spray paint for primer, god, that makes such a big difference. Because painting on primer sucks, because I don't like using the aerosol cans. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that as a sort of side note, because I thought that was very funny that it just exploded all the time, and then, oh wait, there's a piece here. Hopefully that wasn't the thing causing it to explode.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Eventually I'll return it though, get my money back and figure something out. Or not, I don't know. I'm still back and forth with it.
Right.
I also, you had mentioned about the kits for the Cygors and everything. I remember I posted something that you saw where I was like, the decision war continues when we saw that the Dark Eldar stuff was getting ready to print or whatever it's called.
Oh, the made-to-order stuff?
Yeah, the made-to-order stuff. Because I remember I was talking to you, or like maybe it was the last episode or something. But like Rax, Homunculus, Grotesques, they were not there on the GW shops. We're like, well, these are just gone from the Dark Eldar. This is not an identity they want in their game. And there's like, oh, by the way, they're made to order now. And I'm like, I guess the decision war of 10th edition continues for me.
Yeah.
I have tried to decide like 7 different armies.
Yeah, well, the nice part is that, you know, you can at least try the game with, like, an existing army, or you can borrow one of mine, and then, if you like it, then you can continue that choice war. But, until then, you know, you have plenty of time.
That's true. I just think it's funny, like, I felt so confident with, like, armies in the past and what I wanted to play, but man, is it just hard now.
Yeah, it always seems like it's gonna be easy. I mean, remember like how hard it was for me to choose a character to play through Dragonflight?
Oh
Like,
my god!
How many times I swapped characters?
I'm gonna bring my warrior. Actually, I'm gonna bring my warlock. Actually, I'm gonna make a whole new character. No, I'm gonna go back to this other warrior. No, this warrior's cool. I like this one.
I'm gonna play my shaman. I'm gonna play this. You know, it just kept going on and on and on and on.
And then we never finished Dragonflight.
Yeah, I mean, since we resubbed, I've been playing again.
I haven't touched retail in a bit.
I'm almost 70 now.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yeah.
Anything else for Warhammer talk you want to bring up?
I think that was pretty much it. There wasn't any other big announcements that I could think of.
I would like to, in essence, before we wrap up Warhammer talk, share a story that we have not shared on the podcast. That is one of my proudest achievements in 40k history.
All right.
I believe it was 7th edition. That was the 7th edition, the one with the psychic power cards, or was that 6th?
Both.
So 7th edition, I'm pretty sure. I was playing Chaos.
Oh. I already know what story this is.
Yeah, and were you playing Tyranids?
Oh boy.
Oh man.
It was either Tyranids or Orcs.
It was one of the
Orcs.
two. So he was playing Orcs, I was playing Chaos, and I made a very controversial decision apparently because I put my sorcerer on a bike because I thought it was hilarious. And I had gotten the power. I raced over because I just wanted to get into close combat. So I raced over with my bike into one of his units, and I actually roll to get a transformation. I roll and I transform into a bloodthirster.
Yeah, that was the old Dark Hypotheses, the demonologist.
Yes!
Demonology spell.
Because it could have just like summoned demons or given me like a random buff, right?
It either summoned like 10 of the standard like bloodletters or something like that, or you could turn into a spawn, or you turn into a demon prince, or you turn into a greater demon.
Yeah, so I ended up turning into a freaking greater demon. So just imagining this like chaos sorcerer jetting out on a bike as fast as he can, jumps off of his bike, bursts into a bloodthirster, and attacks the unit was one of the coolest moments.
It just starts pummeling unit.
Like, I didn't win that game. I did not win that game, but it didn't matter because it was one of the most badass moments I have ever done in Warhammer. I have not, like, I haven't been able to live that down. It's been so cool.
That was pretty great. There's been a lot of like fun little moments in some of our game, in our 40k games before. Like I know like Gragmall driving by on his bike and punching a monolith and wound to death was pretty funny.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
Like that was funny. Or like when I played Horus in that one like big old apocalypse game that we played.
That was fun. I really liked that.
And then Horus just just manhandling all of these titans. That was back when Primarchs were busted. Like,
yeah, you'd think Primarchs would still be busted, but
nope. Well, you know, power scaling and all that, they have to make the game fair. So
listen,
Primarchs...
Chris, 10 Bellicores, Chris.
Yeah. on a scale of 1 to 1,000 Bellicores, like how many Bellicores do you think he's worth?
Oh Lord. Man, we didn't even. We'll probably tell a story another time, but lest we forget the Archon of the Swarmlord.
Yeah, we've told that one before.
Have we? Oh man, I'll never forget that. How angry you were that day.
That was a sad day. The fact that Swarmlords don't have Eternal Warrior makes me angry.
But I think that's good on Warhammer Talk, unless you have something else to add.
Nope, I think I got everything off my chest.
Wonderful. As we move on to the next thing we're talking about, Chris, what game have you been playing lately?
Well, I think one more than the other. Let me know. Like I've been dabbling with like Warcraft. Obviously, you know, I've been trying to get through the Dragonflight stuff and get at least one character to level cap.
Totally.
So yeah, I mean, like a little bit of World of Warcraft here, a little bit of Elder Scrolls here, but the game that I've dumped at least 6 hours into in total right now is Sonic Frontiers.
I've seen you on that for a while. You've been like waiting for the chance to play that game.
Yeah, I wanted to get my my second hard drive before I started playing some of my single player games, because I wanted to make sure that I had enough room multiplayer after getting my second SSD. I've been putting all of my Steam games onto the other SSD.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, and since I did that, now I've been having I've just been playing a bunch of Sonic Frontiers. I think I'm only on like the second map. That game is huge.
And like, it's good that it is. I hear there's a lot of content in that game.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's funny because somebody actually me at work the other day that they asked me, he's like, "Hey, have you ever played Breath of the Wild?" I said, "No, I'm playing something close. I'm playing Sonic Frontiers."
I mean, it's pretty close. It's a fun game. It's a good game. I tried Breath of the Wild. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I've never played Breath of the Wild, but I've played. I'm playing Sonic Frontiers, so it's close enough.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah. I think it's some good stuff. Like I said, I think I'm on map 2 of. God, I want to say there's like 6 maps, and these are massive open world maps.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, but yeah, I love all the combos that you can do in the game. Some of the crazy, like high attack damage abilities, some of the weird crazy wave attacks that you can throw out, and then they have this thing called Phantom Rush, to where if you build up your combo meter, you enter this Phantom Rush mode, and then every time while you're attacking, there's just like a bunch of other Sonics everywhere to symbolize that you're going at the speed of light, essentially.
Literally after images from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, it really is. And the bosses are massive. Like, or I shouldn't even say bosses. I mean, some of the mobs are just these massive structures that you have to climb and sort of like Shadow of the Colossus bring them down, and
Sonic of the Colossus.
Yeah, like I fought against the first Titan on the first map. So essentially, you've got to fight these. There's a Titan on all 6 of these maps, and you have to earn your way to getting and unlocking all 7 Chaos Emeralds on each map. So, like once you collect all 7, then you can go Supersonic and you can fight the Titan. So I think on map 2 right now, I think I'm sitting on 4 out of 7 Chaos Emeralds. So I'm getting close to fighting the boss.
Ooh,
but
okay.
It's gonna be a little bit still. And there's like little mini levels inside each of the big maps. So like you can get the keys to unlock the Chaos Emeralds through these mini maps that you'll like scan your hand onto the altar, and then you're sent onto like a side-scrolling mission, or you're sent into like a newer age running. I don't know what that term is called, but it's essentially like a temple run style.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it's cool, and you can get multiple ways of getting keys inside of there. Like there's completing with S rank, or collecting all the collectibles in that one level, beating it in a certain amount of time, and then you can use those keys to get Chaos Emeralds. And then I'm trying to think of what else I do. I mean, they have like other little mini games for collectibles. You can collect songs because you have like a playlist that you can shuffle through,
which is so smart.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Like I love booting up the game, and the first thing I do is turn Sonic Heroes on. So
one of the best theme songs of Sonic.
Yeah, it's a good one. But yeah, like you're able to find like little like music note icons around each of the maps, and that's how you unlock different songs. I don't know if there's a way to go back to previous maps, because I didn't discover everything on the previous map, and I kind of wish I did, because there's so many like hidden unlockables. And
maybe it's something post game you can do.
It could be, yeah. I don't know. I've been upgrading my attack and my defense and my speed and my rings. I really like the concept of when you get your max amount of rings that you can hold, you go into like this hypersonic mode, to where your boost is incredibly fast. And
it really incentivizes getting rings.
It does, yeah. Aside from it just being your health, it also, it incentivizes you to hold on to the max amount of rings, which when you first start is like 400. So yeah, you hold on to 400 rings, you can span the entire map in minutes.
Which has got to be a really cool feeling.
It is. It is a great feeling. Like I said, even the combat itself feels really good. I don't feel like I'm just mashing X because there's so many combos that have so many situations to use them in. Like, you don't just use the same combos over and over again because they don't always work.
I feel like a game like that, like, I'm glad the combat's like simple but fun.
Oh yeah, like this is easily like a 10 out of 10 Sonic game for me. From a non professional video game analysis viewpoint, like, I haven't had a 10 out of 10 Sonic game in a long time, and I think this is my 10 out of 10.
Most Sonic games aren't 10 out of 10. God, the last 10 out of 10 game was Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, I mean, true. I mean, some people might disagree and say Sonic Colors was their 10 out of 10, but you know.
Sonic Colors was good, but I don't think it was a 10 out of 10. It's a fun game, but I think it has actually like hindered from being on the Wii.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Sonic games that, like, most people who play Sonic games will be like, oh, this game is garbage. Like, Sonic and the Black Knight, it was not a great game, but I still had fun with it.
I thought the game was great. I understand people's hate for it. It's just fine.
Yeah.
It's a great
yeah,
game.
you and me are 100% on the minority of that. Like,
yeah, but I think that's also due to the fact that I freaking tried to speedrun that game.
Yeah.
It's a long time learning that stuff.
Yeah. But, yeah, Sonic Frontiers so far has been really, really good. The voice acting, the cutscenes, the world, the abilities, just everything about it has been a blast so far. And now that I have these external speakers, and you know, I can enjoy not having to blow my eardrums out by trying to listen to. But
that's the best part.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing. But what about you?
Mine's not going to be as fun. Because I've mainly been trying to stick to a lot of my other hobbies, on top of which I'm about to approach my finals for my semester, so that's been taking up a lot of my time. But in all reality, I've been kind of jumping between games, like with you with World of Warcraft. I know we started our hardcore characters with Dave.
Yeah.
So that's been fun. I've been jumping a little bit on Classic, playing a little bit of that. I imported my Hunter from the Season of Mastery over to the Classic world, so I can just kind of play that, because I would like to get a Classic character to 60. With him being like 43, I didn't want to abandon him.
That's fair, yeah.
So I decided, alright, I'll play a little bit more of him. I do like my Hunter too. Classic is really fun, and I really enjoy having the Chat GPT add-on, so that all the quest text talks. It's such a cool add-on.
That is a really cool add. Like, I was kind of jealous.
Yeah, it adds so much to the game, and even if I like just a quick accept it, it still plays the audio, so I can still listen to everything.
Yeah.
Besides that, the main thing I've really been playing, I've been kind of doing my own special run with Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force, actually. I jumped back on the one I've played the most, Tag Force 2. And I'm just kind of trying to do I'm trying to do a challenge run where I stick to, I'd only be able to buy 24 of the packs, and just try to beat the game with that. It's been interesting, since that game starts you off with a dog water deck.
Yes.
It's so bad. I mean, when you're playing Flying Penguin, you're desperate, my guy.
Yeah, that's true.
But I've been playing that a lot. It's been, like I said, it's been here or there. Same thing with World of Warcraft. Just because classes take up most of the time. I actually did. Last time I stepped by one of the new game stores, I got 2 more 360 games I can add to my library of what games are we playing that I'm very excited to start. One of them is actually a 360 game called. It's based off of the Star Ocean franchise, which is like a Squeenix JRPG for space. Very excited for that. Because I really like Phantasy Star, and I've wanted to beat it for a long time, but I'm so stubborn that I can't just play the fourth one, which everyone loves, and I have to play the first one, which most people don't like.
Well, you gotta start somewhere, I guess.
You do. But yeah, I haven't been playing much, but yeah, Sonic Frontiers is such a cool game.
It is. Actually, once I finish Sonic Frontiers, which is gonna be a while because there's so much content, and I only play so much. I only have so much time to be on the computer, aside from like work, sleep, and family. But I can already give you previews of what my next game that I'm going to play is.
Oh yeah.
I should be playing stuff that's on my my Steam playlist. However, I plan to boot up the old 360 and I want to go through Blue Dragon.
Oh man, you know what? We should when you do that, I would love to have a sort of like duo JRPG feel with what games we're playing.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think that'd be pretty tight.
I think it'd be kind of fun to do. Like maybe I'll even get a capture card or something, and then maybe we can go through it together.
Oh, dude, that'd be sick. That'd be so cool. I actually have an extra one I'm not using. It's not like as fancy as my Elgato, but like it works.
As long as it does the thing, you know. Like,
and then it does it.
Maybe we'll start having like dual uploads, and we'll do an entire episode that's called this is, instead of what are we playing, it's this is what we're playing.
You know, honestly, write that down, fans. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I've always wanted to beat like go through the entire thing of Blue Dragon, because I think I've only ever played the first level or something like that, because I initially played the game on a demo. So whatever the demo allowed me to do, that's the only thing I've done.
And watched the anime.
Yeah, but I don't remember anything from the anime.
I remember the theme song though.
I remember that there's the main character who's, you know, because I think the art style is Toriyama, right?
Yeah, Toriyama does the art style.
Yeah, it's pretty unmistakable, but yeah, like I know there's the main character with the blue dragon, and there's only one of those, and then I know there's like a pirate girl with a bat.
Yep, that's all you need to know, baby.
The shadow bat.
The shadow. But eventually, I'll go through that too. I do want to go through that, because apparently there's a second season that I never knew about.
Coolio.
But yeah, that would be really cool. I'll probably either do Star Ocean or Phantasy Star 4. I think a whole this is what we're playing, or doing like a dual JRPG thing would be really fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good time.
As we move on to our next segment, I will be giving Chris the floor again for this one. You recently had a Dungeons & Dragons session that you would like to take us behind the DM screen for.
Oh yeah. So I was actually going to retail the entire thing to you about, because it's actually 3 sessions that I'm about to talk about here.
The floor is yours, my friend.
I mean, I'll obviously sum it all up. It's not going to be word for word what happened, but essentially we were doing the story arc for our paladin, and what had happened was the students had just finished their midterms, and their midterms had also been somewhat of a competition.
Mm-hmm.
So for coming in first place, they won a field trip. So they basically got to take a couple of days off of assignments and going out and working, and they got to go on a little like field trip. And the field trip was to a maximum security prison to do like a tour and see how like where the most dangerous of magical entities and creatures and witches would be held. And so while they were touring the place, they met the warden and the warden's brothers, and essentially what all happened was they uncovered that the warden was actually a bad guy and had plans of getting rid of the children at some point, and they found out a little too soon, so the warden had to expedite his plans, and he essentially cut the power to the prison and opened all of the doors to the prison cells. And the party had to then essentially survive while all of these I don't want to say world-ending villains, but they were like all these prisoners that had potential to really do some damage to the world itself. Yeah. And they were all, I think I had mentioned in a previous episode how they were all in like these time prisons. Yeah, so the time prisons stayed open. But the prisoners themselves, unbeknownst to the party, were somewhat under the control of the warden, because that's what his whole plan was, to have this entire sort of army of freaks and monsters under his control. To do reasons. I don't want to spoil those reasons, because I know some of my party members listen to our podcast.
Yeah, so, no spoilers, guys.
Yeah, there's a reason he wanted to do all that. But so he's controlling these guys, and he's basically ordering most of them to stay in the cells to protect the time cubes, because if they gathered those time cubes and then saved the paladin's grandfather, who was a prisoner, but they thought that he was a bad guy at first, then he could potentially take the prison back under his control again, and the warden would be defeated. I had created all 8 of these bosses. It wasn't intended for all of them to be boss fights. Some of them were just interactions, information giving characters, or characters that maybe they'll see later down the line. Like I have the Raven Lord that they freed. He was one of the founding members of the Wiccan Witch Coven.
Yeah.
And he kind of gave a little bit of insight on the situation, and then they just kind of left him. And so they'll meet him again at some point. He just won't. He's not a bad guy.
Just because you are a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
Yeah. But there were. So I think I actually set it to where there were 4 non-combat. No. Man, now I can't remember. There was the grandfather. He was the non-combat. The all-knowing guy. The Raven Lord. And that's it. So there were 3 out of 8 were non-combat boss fights. And then I had custom made or homebrewed all the other bosses that they could fight against. And 2 out of those other remaining ones were potential TPKs.
Oh my.
Yeah. So, what had happened was they eventually started, taking out bosses one at a time, talking their way out of certain situations. They only didn't open the door for 1 out of those 8 bosses, because there's a monster that I created called the Unisaurus Rex, and it was essentially like a how did I describe it? It was a dinosaur that was supposed to be extinct, and it was the size of half an aircraft carrier.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so there's this massive electrical dinosaur just like hiding in a prison somewhere, trying to make its way out, and even the warden wasn't stupid enough to open that door. So he left that one closed.
That's incredible. I just think you have that dinosaur is so cool.
I know, like I was really hoping they would go and fight it. Surprisingly enough, he wasn't meant to be one of the TPKs.
That's crazy.
I know. So they did end up. So they skipped 2 out of the 8 bosses because they didn't have to. Because the time cubes were all they needed, and they only needed 4 of them, so they didn't need to get all 8 of them. And they skipped one boss called the Beamancer. So they skipped him, who was a potential TPK, and then they skipped the Unisaurus Rex because, you know, nobody wants to fight an aircraft carrier-sized dinosaur.
Nobody wants to.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been a good time. And they were also warned by 2 other very knowledgeable sources to not fight that dinosaur. And so they ended up going and what was it? They went up against this thing called the Mire Lord, which it was the first boss that I started working on for that entire session. And I was so proud of the mechanics that I created for it. I'm like, man, this is a potential TPK monster. Like he's gonna be poisoning them and slowing them and consuming them into the murk and like drowning them in swamp. And I'm just like, man, this is gonna be an intense boss fight. It wasn't. They actually dropped him down to 3 health in the very first round of combat because I rolled a 1 on initiative.
No.
So, I did a bit of a DM fib, and they were like, you know, they brought him down to 3 health, and I was like, oh man, this boss isn't even gonna get a chance to do any of the things that I created for him. So I just decided on the spot that the new mechanic for the Mire Lord was you had to take out all of his health in 1 blow. So he just kept regenerating to full health.
I'm sure that didn't make the players very happy.
I mean, they didn't. They weren't against it. Like they didn't know that. That's
well,
what
obviously.
I did. You know,
but it
like,
must have been a little frustrating for them.
Oh yeah, sure. You know, like I like to make things in some of my boss fights where my players have to kind of figure out what the gimmick is, because like the way that Austin always puts it is every time they battle a boss of mine, the first thing that he looks for is the gimmick. So
and I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. So and it's like I was saying, like this is the first time I revealed that was what I did when you know, since this is supposed to be behind the DM screen. Yeah, I'm admitting to it. Yep, I just created it on the spot and went, yep, he's gonna fully heal now because I want to play with my monster, damn it.
Well, and it's like, so I remember reading about something. There was like a post that somebody made about how they made an adventure league and how there was like this kid who was DMing and he wasn't tracking the health on the dragon they were fighting. And when asked about it, the kid was like, I don't track health points because he dies when it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, and that's actually more common than people think. But I disagree with that. I'm not one to just be like, oh yeah, it's whenever people stop having fun is when I'm gonna allow the monster to die, because it's like some combat doesn't need to drag on that long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes players like to feel how powerful their characters actually are. So if you present them with something large and they just smack it left and right until it's down, I mean, that's gonna make your players feel pretty good.
That's true, but I think in like your scenario, I think that's what the scenario is meant to be more for. When you have a boss that you're passionate about and you want to have fun with too, I think it's okay to kind of flub rules or make up something on the spot so that you can actually play with your monster too, and it's fun for everybody.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, the dungeon master is supposed to have fun too, so I agree with that statement, 100%. Like if you got to do something on the fly, do it. Um, it definitely didn't spoil the whole mood for me. It wasn't that big of a deal. I was just sad because I assumed that this monster was gonna do a lot more,
Totally.
but which is fine. Like with him not hitting as hard or doing things as much as I thought he was going to, it actually made it so that the fight with the warden was better. So after all of these prisoners are beaten, or majority of the prisoners are beaten, and they get their time cubes, they then go try to find the warden's office. Eventually find it because it was hidden, and as they're just making their way into the warden's office, uh, there's like a massive magical explosion, and they can watch as like they see as like the magical particles and dust fly out of the door. And when they go in there, they see that the paladin's grandfather is basically laying face down on the floor after smashing into a pillar, and the warden is just standing there with like a cheeky smile, sees that everybody showed up, he's in his true form, and it turns out he's a vampire. Um, because when they first met him, the warden was actually disguised as a half giant
Oh.
named Mac, which his name was Mac because the character's name is Sire Immaculus. So
Love that.
yeah, so he was the Immaculate One, and basically as a vampire, just thinks he's better than everybody. Very, very cocky and full of himself, and well, just sure of himself too. So I mean, like, this character was ready to spill all the beans on anything. And so some more behind the DM screen, feelings and thoughts. I was a little upset because this is not the first time this has happened with this group, where I have a villain who is so confident that he's willing to tell the group anything they want to know, and instead of letting the villain monologue, they just attack him. So
Tragic.
I know. So it's like this character had so much to say, and they were just like, "You're going down," and then they charge at him, and I'm like, "Oh, all right, well, I guess it's fight time."
You put away your like 3-page scripted monologue, like, oh, okay, I guess we're fighting.
Yeah, I mean, there was at least one moment where, so like, the whole thing that they tried to do was get to the sword, the grandfather's sword, which was like this this like ancient holy blade. And so the paladin like immediately sees his grandfather and a sword on the ground, and then the warden is kind of like, "Oh, how's it going, children?" And then the paladin goes to start running for the sword, and then Sire Immaculus just goes and like holds his hand up, and then the paladin just stopped. He just stopped running. And so I'm sitting here like, all right, cool. This is where I can finally have my talk. And that's when the other players were like, "We attack him," and I'm like, all right.
Listen, I can vouch for the players. Sometimes monologues are they're not what you're in the mood for.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, they were probably ready to just fight this guy because he's screwed them over a lot. But
yeah,
there's just so much information that they miss out on. So that, like, later down the line, they're like, "Oh, well, why did this happen? Why did that happen?" Like, well, I don't know. Maybe you should have asked. So, but anyway, so the fight starts, and like the Sire Immaculus gets the first turn.
totally.
And then he also ended up like snapping his fingers, and then I forgot what the monster was actually called, but it was essentially just a bunch of zombies molded together in what it seems like a tsunami of zombies.
That sounds terrifying, and I hate it.
Yeah, so it dropped from the ceiling, and they had to fight that thing. And that thing essentially had a feel no pain, like a 5+ feel no pain. So
Okay.
anytime somebody hit it and dealt damage, it would roll a d6, and on a 5 up, it completely ignored the damage.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, so it took them a little bit to fight that meat monster. And so while they're dealing with that, the sire just walks over to the body of the grandfather and picks up the holy blade and just puts it on his back and like, well, you guys can't have this now. And so, and then his turn happens again, and he just like snaps both of his fingers, and then bats fly out of his sleeves. So now you've got this this challenge rating 18 vampire, or no, challenge rating 15 vampire with a challenge rating like 7 zombie mold monster, and then a bunch of like challenge rating 1/4. I think it was 7 1/4 bats. So it's a lot
It's
of
just so much.
There's a lot on the board, yeah. And the nice part is that the warden was so confident in himself that he didn't actually attack anybody until they beat the meat monster. So once the zombie was defeated, then they went to go fight the warden, and he was just taking it to him. Like he was only fighting with a greatsword. Like he didn't have any magic or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a parry ability on top of a 5-up field of pain. So if he got hit on a 4-up, the attack is deflected.
That's annoying.
If he got hit and failed his 4-up, and then you dealt damage, he then had an additional 5-up to just feel no pain and take
That's
no damage.
really annoying.
Yeah. So he had that, and then he had his greatsword that he's just taking it to the players. On top of that, he also has Vampire Charm. So Vampire Charm is hella different from Charm spells
Yeah.
because they don't end. There's no time frame. So the first thing that Sire Maculus does is look over at Ray's the warlock, he's a half elf warlock, by the way, so he's got really high I believe it was wisdom that he had to make. So he had a relatively high wisdom, and he was also at advantage on his save, and he failed.
Oh my
So
god.
the very first thing, Sire Maculus turns to him and goes, "Join the winning side, Warlock," and then he does. So every time Ray's turn came around, I was just like, "All right, you fire Eldritch Blast at your friend over there," and he's just like pegging the other guys down, and my Warlock or my Sire Maculus doesn't have to fight anymore, so he's just kind of like taunting the party as their friend is beating them up.
And this is where he delivered the monologue while his friend's beating him up.
Kind of, yeah. Like he had a lot of like snarky remarks. Like anytime somebody tried to fight him and he deflected it, he'd be like, "Is that all you've got?" And then there would be times where like Austin would shoot an arrow. He would actually shoot. There was actually a critical hit arrow that he shot at him, and I got the 4-up deflect. So it ended up being like it shot the arrow at him, and then he grabbed the arrow and basically was just like, "You're gonna have to try a lot harder than that to beat me." And he's like, "I can't try any harder than a natural 20.
Literally. Oh man, I would not have survived that fight. I would have been so ticked.
Yeah. So not only that, but then his turn cycles around again, and he uses his charm, his vampire charm again. And this time I aimed it at my wife, the cleric, who is the only healer on the team, and got her. So the charm. So now the Sire Immaculus is now charmed both the warlock and the cleric, and I just start having the cleric randomly casting spells. Like like just like casting Speak with Dead or casting a bunch of other first and second level spells.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at me and she's like, why is he casting these spells? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you're just wasting my turn. And then when she asked me personally as the dungeon master, why am I doing that? I tell her in character, Sire Immaculus speaks through your character and says, "I'm using up your spell slots."
That's
So
amazing.
so I was making it so that if anybody dies, because she had a 3rd level spell slot for Revivify,
Yeah.
and I used up all of her spell slots.
That's so tragic.
Yeah, so I was making it so that she couldn't cast Revivify and bring anybody back to life if they died. And so yeah, then what was it? So we had the Barbarian fighting, and he got knocked down pretty much immediately, and then Sire Immaculus fed on him, and he died.
Yikes.
The Barbarian, like, straight up dead. And then eventually, what was it? Austin tried to run away. He essentially went from one side of the board to the other, using like his dash action because he's a rogue ranger, and then Sire Immaculus uses his legendary actions to essentially teleport. does the Shadow Blade teleports behind you, and and then just starts like, he didn't even attack him. I had a free attack action and he didn't attack him. He just teleported behind him and kind of went like, boo, like, I'm here, hello. So, he's just taunting these characters. And then Austin tries to get away, and then instead of taking the opportunity attack, Sire Immaculus looks at the Warlock and goes, "Oh, can you take care of that one running away?" And then he just double Eldritch Blast and knocks Austin on his butt. He's down 0 health.
Oh my god.
And then Sire Immaculus walked over to him and fed on him and killed him. So he basically sucked the blood dry out of 2 characters, and they die. They are dead. And it was looking pretty grim because it was the Paladin versus the Warden, the Cleric, and the Warlock.
Jesus.
Eventually, they found out that if they dealt damage to the charmed players, that they could re-roll their save to break the charm. And so they all just started like slapping each other across the face, and it finally started working. And then they were able to then start working together to fight the Warden, but it was still not working. Like, he was still just blocking damage, basically avoiding damage, like everything. They could not get past this guy. And then the Warden went to go and attack the Warlock, and I rolled a nat 1.
Oh.
And doing that, I told him, I said, "Oof, nat 1." And then the Warlock goes, "Okay, I want to try to do something." I was like, "Okay." So I rolled a nat 1, so naturally I want to see. I'm curious what he's gonna have to say. He goes, "I want to try to reach behind him and grab the holy sword." I was like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If he flubs up an attack that bad and he's off balance, you go to, so he rolls a sleight of hand, gets like an upper like 17, 18, snags the holy sword from him, throws it to the Paladin, and then the Paladin uses the ability that the weapon has called, I don't remember exactly what I don't think there's a name for the ability that the sword does, but essentially it just lets out like a wave of light that does 8d8 radiant damage, which is doubled on undead. So yeah, he just completely blasted the Sire Immaculus with that ability. And the thing is that vampires heal every turn. So like even when they did manage to get a hit on the warden, he would just heal on his turn.
This is the most frustrating boss I've ever heard of.
Yeah, like he straight up would. I mean, that's just basic vampire rules from the monster manual, is that he just heals. So they actually didn't start chipping away health on him until I believe it was round 6 or 7. So I mean, the whole warden fight took like 3 hours.
Jesus.
It was a long fight, and yeah, but it took about round 6 or 7, and they finally dealt damage to him, just for him to heal all of the damage that he took.
I would have quit. I genuinely would have quit.
But but the thing is, when vampires are hit with radiant damage, that heal doesn't work for a whole entire turn. So he got blasted with that radiant wave ability from that sword. I mean, that did a quarter of his health in one round, and he couldn't heal naturally. So the players took advantage of just pummeling him with their melee weapons. The cleric was casting just the basic cantrip. What is it called? Sacred Flame. Because even though it wasn't doing a lot of damage, it was still dealing radiant damage. So even if it was only 1 radiant damage, he couldn't heal. And they figured that out, and then just kept blasting and blasting and blasting, and finally they got him. They got him down. I think he had 210 health, and they finally dropped him, and he blew away in a spark of light.
God, that had to have been very satisfying to finally take him down.
It was, yeah. They were like, it was just like a jumping cheers and everything when they finally took him down. But yeah, so it was hard. It was heartfelt, or it was hard, and it was heartfelt because, yeah, they finally beat him, but 2 of the players died in that fight.
Yeah, and a player death is always hard to deal with.
It is. And the thing is too, is that like when I kill a player unfairly, because of my own ignorance, like I messed something up or I didn't read an ability or something like that, then I will do my best to like reconcile and maybe find a way to make that character able to come back. This had to have been the first time that the opposite of that happened.
Yeah.
To where I purposely had a character. So Cyromaculus is a smart villain. Like he wasn't just a monster that was gonna stop attacking you because you're not moving anymore. Like he was crafty and cunning and vicious. So, and he watched these players fight all these other bosses, for hours. He watched them, so he knew what everybody could do and what they were capable of. So his goal was to just pick them off one by one and kill them, like outright.
Right.
So when he when he bit them and consumed them, they die outright. There's no death saves if you reach 0 health from a vampire bite.
Jesus.
However, after 24 hours pass, those players that died from the vampire bite become vampire spawn. They are reborn as vampire spawn.
Oh no.
So they died, and I ended the session. Like I closed the book and I said, and we'll end the session there. And then before everybody started cleaning up, I was like, hold on. And and I look at Ox and I look at Shane and I said, something along the lines of, you feel the cold grip of death, like waning over your body, and then suddenly, can I get a strength check from you guys? And then I got a strength check, and they passed flying colors. because they were buried at the end of the session. They buried them, and so they passed a strength check, and I went, "You guys feel your fingers twitching, and, like your arms moving, and you punch your way out of the ground, and you know." And then when they got out of the graves that were built for them, it was morning time, and I was like, yeah, the sun seems blinding and it kind of burns your skin a little bit. And that's when they kind of got the idea, like, oh crap, we're vampires now.
Man.
So, yeah, I killed them, but I didn't read the fine print that said that they were going to come back as vampire spawn, so...
It's, that's going to be interesting to deal with.
Oh, dude, I've already made it so much worse for myself in this last session. They fought against werewolves, and werewolves, when they bite you, inflict lycanthropy on you. So I've got 2 werepires and 1 werewolf.
That's amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, both of the vampire spawns have lycanthropy, so they're werepires right now, and then I have the warlock is also a werewolf, so... It's just the paladin in this group of monsters right now.
I'm sure the paladin really appreciates that.
Yeah, well, I think after these next couple of sessions, a lot of that is going to get cured.
Totally.
Especially because the school frowns upon things like that.
Yeah, they definitely wouldn't want, vampires and werewolves running around.
Yeah. I also, when in our last session, when they had their medical examination, because they get a medical exam after every assignment. And when the doctor found out that they were vampire spawn, she had made a comment about how they were lucky to get away from that vampire, and he's probably plotting his revenge right now. And they're like, "Oh no, we killed him. He's dead." And then she's like, "Oh honey, you don't know, do you?" and the rules in the book state that if the vampire that turned you into a spawn was dead, they would have turned to dust. So because they're still vampire spawn, Sire Immaculus isn't dead.
Oh my god, a 3-hour boss fight and they didn't even kill him. Oh my god, I hate that for them.
Yeah, they were mad. They were really, I think Ashley actually hit me when I told her that, so...
Understandably! Actually, understandably! That's just so dumb!
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason behind it. I'm not just doing it because I'm spiteful or anything like that. There is a 100% lore reason for storytelling why it happened.
Oh, just thinking about them having to go through that again. Except now he's gonna be even stronger, so it's gonna be a 5-hour boss fight. Oh my god.
When we turn the recording off, I'll give you the abridged version of why I'm doing this and what's gonna happen.
Totally, but good god, I hate it.
So yeah, that was the entire the paladin's name is Sleeve. So that was the entirety of the Sleeve arc.
What an arc!
Yeah, it was a crazy time, and it's only gonna get even crazier now that we're in the Raven arc. So Shane's barbarian, they're in the Celestial Realm right now, and they're gonna go talk to Bahamut.
That'll be a good talk.
Yeah, well, Uncle Bahamut is expecting a visit.
Yeah, I think you'll tell us about that on our next behind the DM screen.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's gonna be a couple of weeks before that game starts.
Fair enough. There's only one last segment we have on here. Cue the the boos in the audience.
Boo boo.
And it was one you suggested again. Totally not last minute. And it's just recent purchases we made that we might want to talk about, because you sounded very excited about something you recently purchased that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did too, so...
I guess I'll start. I got two purchases that I made. One's very good and one is very bad. I'll talk about the good one first, just because I thought it was a really neat find. That same place where I host all my speed duel tournaments and where I normally go for all of my trading card stuff. I actually got the first edition Warhammer 40k rulebook from 1988 or 87.
Oh yeah, you did send me a picture of that.
Yeah, I got the Rogue Trader book. It's a pretty penny, but I've been looking through it every now and again. It's so neat to see how different the rules were. How there was more like role play aspects to the combat. Like there was so many different rules to this game, and it's nice kind of looking at it and being like, wow, Warhammer has changed, but you can still see an inkling of the game today in this really old book. I love that I picked up. They actually have the chapter approved book there too that I couldn't get because it was like $100. And that one comes with all the rules for like equipment and certain Space Marine legions. It's a really cool piece of history to have. I'm really glad I have it. Since I got rid of most of the codices that I was holding on to, this is something I would like to hold on to no matter what.
For sure, yeah.
The one I'm not so happy about, that it's my turn to rant. Recently, Konami released the 25th Anniversary Edition Legendary Collection box. I was really hyped for this box. So, when they announced it, it was like, hey, by the way, we're finally reprinting the first 6 packs from Legend of Blue Eyes to Invasion of Chaos. And I go, holy crap, that's so cool. I've wanted them to reprint those forever because I like those. There are cards in there I'd like to do for a cube or for my Edison deck. I was really excited for them. Now, I'm very picky with some of these cards. And so, they announced that, I go, this is hype. They announced that there's going to be a guaranteed 25th anniversary rarity. And I'm like, oh, this is even more hype. I love that there's going to be a guaranteed rarity for these special collections. And then you get the box. It's like $31, $32. You get the box. 3 of the you get 6 promo cards. It was Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, Red Eyes, and then the 3 Egyptian Gods. And then you also get the promo 25th anniversary rarity on top of the 6 packs. When I bought this, I assumed that the packs would be a special type of version of the old packs, where they'd have like the 25th anniversary logo on them, and they would be first edition packs. They are not. They are unlimited reprint packs. For some people, that's not a big deal because you're getting the hands on these. This is going to become a more regular thing. They are re-releasing these packs as a whole. You can buy booster boxes of them, I think in like July. I'm ticked off at it because I thought I really wanted first editions of these cards, even if it was like the 25th anniversary first edition, you know? I wanted that because it has that sort of like feel to it. Unlimited, they always felt like weirdly printed. And I wasn't happy with the unlimited printing for a lot of these cards. So, not only are all the old packs unlimited print, the Egyptian God cards are the proxy Egyptian gods, not the ones with the actual effects. Not the Altar ones, but the goddamn proxy ones. These are stupid. The 25th anniversary rarity, I actually got a proxy Ra. Now, the artwork's cool. It's nice that they had those proxies way back when because they never had an official printing, but they do now. Hell, they had structure decks. Please! Why would you give us proxies? This is not Magic the Gathering. I don't want a proxy for these cards. These aren't even rare.
Yikes.
Like,
yeah, at this point, those proxy god cards are essentially just tokens.
You can get the proxy Egyptian god cards from the original Legendary Collection for like $1.
Yikes.
And you can get those graded as like a grade 10 for $5. They're not special. They're so dumb. And so all of my hype for this just completely died out because I'm like, this is the worst. None of the 25th anniversary rarities would interest me because it's either going to be a proxy Egyptian god or a Blue Eyes, Red Eyes, or Dark Magician in the worst art. I'm sick of Tablet Blue Eyes. I'm sick of Tablet Dark Magician. Red Eyes is kind of neat, but I don't like that version of Red Eyes. We got a so much better version not too long ago. Like,
Yeah.
none of the artwork is good. The 25th anniversary is nice. I like the rarity of it, but my God, this was such a dumb way. After an amazing set, like the nostalgia set for Maze of Memories, which came out with like Blackluster Soldier support, Gate Guardian support, that came out with so much extra crap in the Maze of Memories, to only be given this, I never want to look at this again.
Yikes.
So that was my very upset and disappointing purchase. I don't even know what else to say. This was the worst Legendary Collection. I remember when the Duel Academy Legendary Collection came out. That was awesome. You got so much stuff for the Duel Academy Legendary Collection. But this one, I can't even tell you how upset I was with it.
That is a massive bummer.
I feel like I wasted $30.
Yeah, been there.
What about you, Chris? Have you made any recent purchases that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I have. I kind of mentioned it in passing before we hit the record button. But I'm gonna bring it up again because like it's awesome, and it won't be here until I believe they start shipping it out May 31st. But I got it at a discounted pre-order price. But I bought I can't remember what the website is called. I think it's called like reallycoolstuff.com or something like that. But they had just released a Blu-ray of the entire series of Ultimate Muscle.
Yes.
So I bought the Ultimate Muscle Blu-ray for like $50.
You're talking to the guy who's been on a Kinnikuman like binge.
Yeah.
I'm so hyped for that.
Me too. Before we started recording, I was like, "Yeah, man, it'll be here, so let's watch some Ultimate Muscle."
Absolutely. Oh my God, I'm so down for that.
Yeah. So it won't be here for a while. When I bought it, Austin was like, "Yeah, it's not in like Blu-ray quality or anything like that. It's just like copied to a Blu-ray." I'm like, "I don't care."
Yeah, I don't care. It's
like I can't find Ultimate Muscle anywhere to watch the show, so I want this so I can watch the whole thing.
Yeah, well, and like that was the most tragic part about it, is like it's impossible to find. It's almost like they wanted you to forget that it existed. And I get in Japan they did want it to not exist. Apparently Japan is not a fan of the sequel Ultimate Muscle series. And it's sad because I loved it. I loved everything about it.
Yeah, I thought it was great. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my Ultimate Muscle that I bought, and now I have to wait a whole month for.
It's so sad. How dare they make us wait? I'll probably buy a copy myself.
It was nice.
I am going to be making one more purchase to round things out here. That I'm making one more payment on. That I'm hesitantly excited for.
Okay.
I decided to go through and buy that 3D printer off my friend. He's giving me a very good deal on it.
Okay.
He's giving me the printer, a curing station, and all of his resin for $200.
Okay. Oh well.
So
hopefully it works out for you.
I'm hoping it does too. He's literally doing like one last print on it before he gives it to me. I still have to make like one more payment that I'm doing when I get my next paycheck.
Sure.
But I'm hesitantly excited for it because there's a lot of fun things I can do with 3D printing, including stuff for Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, or eventually when I start Sentinels of the Multiverse RPG. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff I can do.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And with that, I think that makes an episode of Blizz Bizz. And this time, legitimately, I'm gonna let you do the outro. I'm actually gonna click stop recording after you're done. I won't
Right.
make an extra skit afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I guess I will leave you with these parting words from Sire Immaculus himself. You can do so much better than that.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions for future topics for the next podcast, or any future videos you want to see, please leave them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon, leave a like, and y'all have a great day.